Thank you. Our next speaker is a very charming young lady, Yang Berhormat Teo Naichi, who is a member of Parliament of Sudan, who is also Assistant Publicity Secretary. They're all running to the PO because it's short time. And the DAP Central Executive Committee. And the right to the stage. It seems the clap is loud for young speakers.
Thank you, Natasri Yin Yin. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. To start my discussion, I would like to share my views on social and cultural landscape, the challenges ahead. I would like to start with the recent Johor Bahru Ancient Temple Chingay Parade. The Chingay is now classified as a Malaysian national heritage, and many see this as a movement or is a sincere respect by our government for Malaysian Chinese culture and traditions. However, in my view, we cannot really determine or judge if a government truly values the preservation and development of national heritage and culture based on just one event. Actually, the fact is, the classification of Johor Bahru Ancient Temple Chingay Parade as national heritage does not cost our government even a single cent, but it will likely to increase its popularity among the Chinese community. So to me, the government has effectively killed two birds with one stone. The sincerity and commitment of the government towards the preservation of heritage and culture is most apparent when usually tasted when there is a conflict between the preservation of heritage and the need of economic development. And it is indeed difficult to strike a balance between maintaining heritage buildings, especially when this structure will be affected by development plans for the city. Due to economic consideration, most town planners would likely sacrifice the notion of heritage preservation, just like our Jalan Sultan. Any development plan that impacts areas of historical significance must take into account of its historical, cultural, and social influence, as well as the local sentiment. Petaling Street harbors a rich history that tells us much about Kuala Lumpur and its beginning. A walk through the area can lead to many surprising discoveries. A city can do without a 100-story mega tower, but a city without a history is not really a city. A city's history is counted and woven by generations of its residents, but its destruction can be affected at an instant. Heritage preservation runs a new lease of life to historical parts of the city, and preservation of Jalan Sultan would contribute immensely to the development of a city with strong sense of culture and history. Protecting the heritage of Jalan Sultan is no longer just the request of the property owners there, but the message has spread throughout the country and has now become a popular grassroots movement. Just think about this. When did we ever see the renowned local artists that lead a street protest? But for the first time ever, we see famous musicians, local artists, they spearheaded the light up Jalan Sultan on the 14th day of Chinese New Year event. And someone, a housewife, called Xu Huisan, she wrote an article on January 30th, pleading for the Prime Minister to intervene in the compulsory land acquisition process and to preserve the historical landmark of Jalan Sultan. She posted it on the Facebook of Ajit Gore, and until today, she attracted more than 8,200 likes, ladies and gentlemen. And I wonder, how many of us, how many of articles actually managed to attract more than 5,000 likes on the Facebook? Ladies and gentlemen, we can see that the main player in the fight to preserve Jalan Sultan are not politicians, but they are normal, ordinary Malaysians. And that shows that actually our people have more insight and foresight for the preservation of the heritage rather than many of the politicians. Can our culture in Malaysia. And I'm curious to ask whether our Information, Communication and Culture Minister spoke out against the land acquisition at the cabinet where this Jalan Sultan issue was brought out during the meeting. And what is exactly the exact role and responsibility of our Ministry of Culture? And how should we and how do we evaluate the contribution of the government towards the development and preservation of Malaysian culture? In my opinion, our government has always taken a very high-handed approach when it comes to shaping the nation's cultural and social value system. I will take one Malaysia as an example. When our Prime Minister introduced the concept of one minister, his intention was to create a Malaysia where Malaysians regard ourselves as Malaysian first, followed by religion, region, socio-economic status second. However, how do our government work towards this ambitious vision? They do it by suddenly flood the whole Malaysia with one Malaysia this and one Malaysia that. We have clinics in Malaysia. They are not manned by the doctors. We have Kedai Rakyat Satu Malaysia that sells the E-coli tempted susu Satu Malaysia. We have Satu Malaysia oyster sauce that doesn't have oyster extract. And we also have the Bantuan Rakyat Satu Malaysia, where a person with the other ship can also can get 500 ringgit. And now we are moving forward. We are now forced the producer of the three control items, namely flour, sugar, and cooking oil, to put the One Malaysia logo on the package. And may I know how would all these methods help us to create a Malaysian first Malaysia? Allow me to refer to Madam Long In Tai, one of my favorite authors, and also the first ever Minister of Culture of Taiwan. Let us see her explanation on the role of Taiwan Ministry of Culture. The English translation might not carry the actual meaning, but this is what I managed to come up with. The Ministry of Culture creates the platform for a performance. It is not the performer, neither is the ministry the cultivator, nor the planter. For society to grow, develop, and flourish, the ministry's role should be to fertilize the soil on which the cultivator can do their work. 文化部是大舞台，不是跳出来表演的那个人。文化部不是那个负责开花。如果社会要发展，要开出奇花异果，文化部不是把花开出来种下，而是培养那个土壤的人。On the contrary, our Malaysian government of the day is the person who built the platform, who set up the stage, and who performed on it and then cheers at its own performance. It is my humble hope, it is my hope that in the future we will see the government set the stage and continue to cultivate the soil for our best and brightest mind to shine, excel, and flourish.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.